Hey guys, welcome back to the Coffin Nail. My name's Lightbreaker, and today I'm talking with Fair Dues from Manchester. Lads, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Good to have yous on. So Fair Dues have been around for a while, and you put out your first EP, Trying Times 2014, your first album, Leopards, in 2018. So let's start with a simple one. Why Leopards?
Do you want to go, Joe?
Yeah, it's sort of multi-level reasoning, really. There's Trailer Park Boys, for one, and then just the speedy nature of the leopard in general. It's a cat. We all like cats. Big cats are great. Not that you can touch them that much, but you know, they're pretty good. But yeah, Park Boys is the shit apple doesn't fall far from the shit tree. And shit leopards don't change the shit spots. So yeah, we went with leopards and just dropped the shit, so it was a bit more family friendly on the album release, so to speak.
We were going to call it Shit Leopards, weren't we? But then we just dropped the shit to make it more palatable.
Was that Lockjaw Records intervening, or?
No, we
thought it was a bit more snappy.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't get an agent. We have to call it Shit Leopards. we do with M&M with the parental advisory sticker on it.
Is there actually a parental advisory logo on it?
No, there's only one swear word in the whole album. Where it says, "I'm a fucking candle."
That's very clean for a punk band, eh?
Onesie, no.
But you guys...
Yeah, it was when Lockjaw were putting it on Spotify. They asked us, like they said, expletives in it. And that was when we had to go through it and we're like, there's one. Weird. But yeah, it's quite easy to just throw an F and a Jeff in there, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially if you haven't got enough syllables to fill out the verse, but you like the line, just chuck fuck in there or something.
A bit more emphasis.
Yeah. But you guys started the band, I think, in, 2009? Something like that? And I was just wondering... Yeah. So why did it take so long to get a first album out?
We got a singer for a bit. So we started making that EP probably around then, 2009. And I don't know, I kind of think we all agreed my singing wasn't up to scratch at the time, so we were kind of on the lookout for a singer. And then the right person turned up. It was all like hazy and glorious, and then he left. So we pretty much recorded the EP. So we then had to kind of start again with the vocals, and it just kind of dragged it out. We were trying to tour a lot of the time and get around, so we're like printing demos on the road to sell at gigs and stuff like that, when we probably should have been just getting a solid release down and getting that out. But that was the main thing, to be honest. It probably added 18 months onto the release of, and then we were kind of ready to put it out. We got involved with Bird Attack, and they wanted to remaster it for the blasting rooms, and then we had to kind of line up with their release schedules and everything. So everything just was pushing it back. We're probably at the mixes to 18 months, 2 years before we put it out. So it just mounted up, but everything kind of fell into place in the end.
Not fucking deadly. And were you happy with the production sound? It's very clean for a punk band.
On Leopards?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of what we're going for. We wanted everything to kind of be defined and be able to hear everything, and it's still kind of loud. There's still that volume, the punch there, but yeah, it's quite clean. I don't know. It's what we're going for. A lot of people said it was too clean, and I don't know. Like, there's enough dirt there for me. So
yeah, well, I think as well with the technique. Now you go.
Sorry, go on.
Now you go.
It is like Danny was saying, what we're aiming for. Like we sort of have like this thing of not doing what's expected, if you know what I mean. Like even from being young, like we sort of been playing in bands together, not necessarily Fair Dues, but me and Danny have been playing in bands together since we were young, like 17, something like. And like, you know, we always got stick off sort of the older generation of punks, that people who just didn't like the way we sounded, so to speak. So we sort of, with Leopards, we actually plumbed for a quite a specific sound, just to see You know, like we didn't want the hugely unnatural triggered drums in there that sound like gunshots everywhere, because it's just what everyone does. We don't want the hugely polished, you know, blockbuster film intro at the start of the album, because it's what everyone does. You know what I mean? It's just, we don't want to toe the same line as what everyone else does. So we went into the studio with the idea of something different, really.
Well, when you say that some of the older punks were giving you shtick, like what sort of comments were you getting?
Like the classic, you know,
you're not a punk band.
Yeah, you're not a punk band from a guy in bondage trousers at 55 years old. You know what I mean? But yeah, it didn't really bother me then. It was more just fuel for the, you know, fuel for the fire of just going like, well, if he really doesn't like it that much that he has to shout at someone for it, then I'm probably going to carry on doing that. You know what I mean?
I mean, that sounds like punk to me.
There was a time when that was. There was a time then when that was kind of isolating, when like kind of punk gigs were our bread and butter. That's where we were trying to get about. We didn't have like, we weren't mates with Darko and Almeida and all those kind of bands, and there wasn't this like little camaraderie in the scene that we've got now. We were kind of just on our own. We were just like, you're not punk. Well, it's like, what the fuck are we supposed to do then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fuck off. We're a punk band.
No, for sure.
But we're not punks, I don't.
Do you feel like punks? Would you identify that label?
No, I was talking to my partner about this the other day. I said I don't think I've ever referred to myself as a punk personally, but like, I've had a mohawk previously. I had a mohawk for about 3 years of my life, but like
you had one when I met you.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But I wasn't really a person that walked around calling myself punk, so I didn't really see any merit in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a case of do what you're doing, and then if someone chooses to label you as such, then let them do that. But I'm not really a person who walks around saying, I am this, so there.
We're probably grumpy old metalheads now, like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we associate with the punk scene, like we like what it's about, kind of thing, the inclusion and
Yeah, my politics line up with punk quite often, but as in, like I say, I don't really call myself punk just as like a generic label of a person, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you a mosher?
Man, I love metal more than ever, but I haven't been a mosher since I was about 19. I'm one of those guys now that watches the show from the side of the stage and maybe picks one or two songs I'm going to go in for. like with Gojira, I was waiting for one or two specific songs, and I came back out and I'm like, yeah, that's me, that's done.
Yeah. It's a week of bed rest.
If Prop Candy played today's Empires, I'm going in. Well, that's about it.
Well, I have to say, the question about your sound, I didn't give it its dues at the start there, because it came from a friend of mine, Maya. She's from Manchester, and she's a big Fair Dues fan as well. And I told her that I was interviewing you guys. She's a producer. She's worked in, I think, Eve Studios. And, yeah, and she asked if the production style shows on Leopards, because it's very clean and separate with the super tight snare she specifically picked out, is that intentionally the sound of the band? If so, why did they choose that direction? And if not, what are they going to do sound-wise on the next album? And this is purely a geeky production question. I don't think this is about general direction.
Go on, I'll let you talk about the snare drum, John.
Yeah, it's pretty coincidental, that one, because I was receiving some verbals off a couple of people for wanting a high-pitched snare just a few days ago. But again, it's the case that every man and his dog, every man, woman, and their respective dogs have a mid to low tune snare, and it's made of wood. And I play a high tune snare made of metal because I like the sound of it. It's just a case of what people expect it to sound like. Like, I've sort of always played like a high pitched snare. I don't know if you remember, like, you know, the cheesy sort of beat down bands from like the middle 2000s that always played like a 10-inch snare that sounded like a gunshot every time you hit it.
Yeah.
So not what I go for, but, you know, a nice middle ground between what everyone sounds like and something a bit more extreme. So yeah, I'm glad she picked out the snare angle, actually, because it's been quite a point of contention over the last couple of weeks.
Sounds like. And how padded is your kick?
The kick is generally just they have like a foam ring around the skin and then maybe just one pillow in the bottom. But Kickney's like, I come from the school of playing drums with never having any mics on them, so everything has to be as loud as possible.
Yeah.
Like it's nice when you get mic'd up, don't it? It's an absolute dream sound checking with full mics and a person on the desk who knows what they're doing, twisting knobs and such. But like for the majority of my time behind the drums, it has been in pubs with rowdy crowds and guitarists who are very, very keen to crank that volume knob. So everything has to be as loud as possible.
Yeah, man, I've been that guitarist a few times, I have to confess. Apparently, John Bonham used to wrap tinfoil around his kick drum to make it boom more. But
I see.
I don't know if that's an apocryphal tale or if that would actually work, but worth a go next time you're playing a local gig.
Just make sure it doesn't get electrocuted or something.
Fucking true.
Yeah.
Well, Danny, I wanted to ask you, Danny, because one of the first things I noticed about Fair Dues was you singing in your own accents, which are quite strong, or at least for that style of punk. So I wanted to know, was that a choice, a statement, or just is what it is?
I don't think it's a choice. It'd be a choice if I wasn't singing in my own accent. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, like some it doesn't kind of shine through with some people. Maybe it does with me. Maybe I don't try and hide it. I don't know, to be honest. That's just how I sing, and it feels honest. So,
have you had any comments on it, either from other bands or punters?
Yes. Well, I mean, I suppose other bands just kind of mimic me sometimes on the odd line. Yeah. Don't let that bullshit get you down. I always get that. I'll make it. But there was quite a lot of comments on it with like the reviews of Leopards and stuff. Positive generally. There was one guy where I think it was the only thing he liked about it.
Fucking hell.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It really grates on me when you hear people singing with American accent. And I don't know. I suppose it's quite broad, it's quite thick, so it shines through.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to the next generation of Manchester-based bands. Or you guys are from around Manchester, right? Yeah. Looking forward to all the new bands coming out, putting on stronger Mancunian accents. Like after Biffy Clyro got big, and every Scottish band who already had Scottish accents were just overdoing it, you know?
Most of the people in the punk scene in Manchester aren't actually from Manchester.
Okay. It's just the only place putting on gigs, eh?
I don't know, but there's a few good bands coming out of Manchester. Decision, Aerial Salad as well. Yeah, I suppose Aerial Salad have got a thick Manchester band on their stuff.
Cool, I'll have to check them out then.
Shout out to the lads.
Yeah, fair play. I want to ask you guys about the songwriting, because like it's very technical, at least on the guitars. And I was wondering how you go about writing songs. Like I've heard Devin Townsend talk about the acoustic test. There's an acoustic form of any song that exists no matter what instrumentation you put it. And I'm imagining that you write something simple and then think, all right, let's complicate it. Let's tap it up or whatever. What's the songwriting process like?
It varies. So some songs like Royal Flush, Carried Away, what else have we got? Cowabunga. They're ones that Dave's just gone, I've got a song, and we just learn it and demo the vocals to it. And that's how we do it. Whereas there's quite a few of the other ones where kind of we'll jam stuff out between us, obviously pre-COVID. Stuff we'll work out in the practice room and then go home and put it into the DAW and all, make demos like that. But everything starts with drums and guitar demo, and then try out some vocals over the top of that.
So you're writing songs over recordings?
Well, just like programmed MIDI drums, and like each got a little. Me and Dave got a little interface, so we can just make little tracks of guitars and drums, and send them over to each other and send them back. Well, that's what I've been doing during the lockdown, but obviously before that, it was nice getting together and doing the old jam sesh. But yeah, it's always, I don't know, it's a few years now. We've just been kind of figured you can just make a little recording. You don't have to learn your riffs. You don't have to learn the songs. You just stick them in, rearrange it, and then sort all that stuff out later.
No, sweet. And John, how do you find the MIDI drums that the other boys put together for you?
I generally don't mind. I mean, to be perfectly honest, with the products that Dave puts in front of us, it's just outright ridiculous. We generally drop the tempo about 30 or 40 beats a minute from what Dave puts in front of us.
Right.
And that still comes out with an end tempo above 200 usually, but it's just like...
Consistent with that as well, like every single time it's like, drop that tempo like 20-30%. It's ridiculous every time.
What's the slowest song on Leopards?
Sorry, say that again.
Sorry, what was the slowest song on Leopards?
Distress Calls, is it called?
Yeah, it's
about 185, is it? 180?
185, yeah, something like that.
Fucking hell.
We might have done it 187 or something like that to be awkward, but
yeah.
Because I know that Al Jurgensen from Ministry, he did an album as Surgical Meth Machine, and there was not a song under 200 BPMs, but it sounds like you boys weren't far off.
I think
I mean, for what we're playing, 200 is pretty standard. It's a bit of a point of discussion because what we would call 200, some people might call 100 beats a minute. Yeah. But again, it comes down to the double time discussion and how do you refer to music. Like, none of us are really trained musicians, so to speak. Like, I'm a self-taught musician. I can't read music in any way, shape, or form. So a lot of the time we just talk absolute shit and just hope that the other person knows what we're talking about, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, because we've been playing together for so long, it's a case of like we know what each other sound like. We know. Generally, it's the little things that make something sound authentic. So it's like, you know, the little bits of stuff that you polished up together over the years. It's sort of like a recurring theme, not like themes across songs that sound the same, but as in just, you know, like little musicians' tricks that help a band gel together a bit better. You sort of employ those when you can, just to, you know, make things sound a bit nicer as a whole. But
yeah, for sure. And when you say about
helps.
When you say about little moments, one of my favorite bits of the album, it actually drove a drummer friend of mine a bit mental the first time I played for him. I played him closing in, and the breakdown, like, did it, and then some instruments come back, some don't. He was just going, no, that's not what you're supposed to do with the breakdown. It just hurt his brain. Like, how much do you intend to sort of flip the format of what a breakdown is supposed to sound like there?
I think most of the time we just play what we like to hear. It's not a case of really aiming for a product. Like, say, a lot of the riffs are there for us. It's just a case of when we sit down and play them together in the practice room. So, you know, someone will say, like, how about doing this for this bit, or how about doing that for this bit? It's generally, it comes from the playing of the song with, like, trying to learn how to play. It's like, say, Dave puts some pretty challenging stuff in front of us, and then it's like we have to, you know, make it passable on stage, essentially. So there is a lot of time spent in the practice room between us. That was before, obviously, the pandemic and stuff.
Of course.
Like, I don't think I've broken sweat on a drum kit in the last 18 months, so... it's difficult living in a terraced house, so it's just sort of like more lighter stuff for 5 or 10 minutes here and there. But definitely has changed the way we're able to come together and sort of progress a song, if you know what I mean. Generally, it'd be 30 seconds of an affair, just like, how about this, how about that? No, that one doesn't work, this one does. But now, obviously, we can't be in the same room together, or we can't even rent a practice room. We haven't had a practice room for as long as the pandemic has been on, so it's a bit shit at the minute, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, we do kind of purposefully go for, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily, I don't know, we listen to a lot of music, so if you hear something, you're like, oh, what piece of that do we do that? You know what I mean? So like that bit that you mentioned, it's like we wanted something kind of with a lot of space in it, like break down, bring everything kind of to a halt, and create and have a lot of space in it, and just kind of, you can breathe in it. It gives the song a bit of a breathing space. The little diddy bit is something that Josh wanted to do, and I was like, no, man, don't fit. And he doth protest. He was like, you never listen to me. So we had a
and he's not here today to defend himself. God.
No, he said exactly the same thing. So in the end, I listened to him, and yeah, it was the right move.
Yeah, fair play. All right, a quick one. Which video was more fun to make, Closing In or Candleman?
Candleman, I think. Yeah, Candleman easily, because Closing In was shot over two separate occasions, and one was outdoors. Both involved fox face paint and full fox suits. And
getting your eyes painted right up to your tear ducts like that is horrific.
Oh, no crack.
Yeah. But
walking back to the car.
But being outdoors and being viewed by the general public in that situation is less fun. So
yeah, how do you explain that?
we just looked him in the eye and said, right, we've got this fox suits tied around our waist, and we're just all painted up, standing back, just like dog walkers. Straight face,
yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah. So what I'm taking away from
head back though was we actually heard a real life fox hunt, like about 50 bloodhounds.
No fucking way.
So we just had to leave because we were dressed as foxes.
That's some Arrested Development shit right there. No, man. So the takeaway, what I've learned here is that corpse paint is easier on the eyes than paint yourself up like a fox.
I forgot the corpse paint was getting. No, they're both the same, right up to the tear duct. So like, I don't know why we put ourselves through it. I did it once. I was like, that was horrible. And then, let's do another video. Oh, let's paint our faces again.
Yeah, but the bonus was we did it at our mate Tree's house, so there was brews, there was biscuits, you know, cigarettes in the backyard, stuff like that. All the trappings.
Well, again, not to tease you guys with dreams of playing live shows, but you've had one or two big tours across Europe, and you played Japan, I think, 2019. You did a tour there. What can you tell me are the main differences of a crowd, say, comparing the UK, mainland Europe, and Japan, especially?
Japan's all about the music and the art, and getting pissed comes second. Whereas everywhere else, it seems it's getting pissed who comes first, which I'm totally down for. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. It's not complaining. Like, but it was just refreshing to be in Japan and just like everyone's there for the first band. It was only really like messy on the Friday and Saturdays. So I think our Saturday gig was like free bar or something like that. So yeah, there's a few. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
everyone's there just for the art. It's glorious. It's mad. Do you agree with that, John?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with your summary there. But I would also, I would level them in the places that you've pinpointed where we've been. Obviously, UK, Europe, and Japan. It is literally level 1, 2, and 3, whereas UK is level 1, as in bare minimum. If you're lucky, you're talking people who are happy to see you when you get to a venue. The pay is minimal, if any. The crowd is minimal, if any, etc. Europe is a step up from that in that all of those things are better. You're well fed, you're well watered. Generally always a crowd who's excited to see bands that sound like you do. So you know that your promoters into doing the thing that they do locally, you know, pulling a crowd for bands that they want to put on in their area. And generally just a lot more open in Europe. People are a lot more friendly. They chat to you. You find a lot more bands in Europe, I find. Obviously, Europe's a lot bigger place than the UK, but
yeah, well,
not
that's
many
it as
people
well.
sound like we do in the UK.
Yeah, but you don't have to travel as far as a punter to go see something, quote unquote, I hate this, alternative, but, you know, punk, rock, metal, even some of the more obscure forms of dance music, like back in UK or Ireland, you have to make a bit of a trek if you want to see something niche, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I live in a place that's quite rural. It's like just a valley town, one road straight through. So there is, well, there is forms of music on, but they generally covers bands or, you know, ex-police officers doing 77 punk and stuff like that. Shit, which I have no interest in going watching, you know what I mean?
Was Roy Chubby Brown not playing near you?
Yeah, he used to frequent around here quite regularly, but that's his, Royston Vasey is his name, isn't it? It's basically, we're going to shoot it in about a mile up the road from me, League of Gentlemen.
Jesus.
But yeah, sorry, carrying on. Like Europe, you find places that I would live in hosting mental tear-ups with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 punk bands on a Wednesday night. You know what I mean? You'll drive through rural Italy, central Italy, and it's like, what's this place? It's literally made out of pallets and covered over with tarp. And there's a PA and a stage, and we're going to get fucking shit-faced in there and then playing about 7 hours or something, you know what I mean? But it happens, and it's like I couldn't imagine that happening like 15 yards from my front door. And it's like you play places like that, and people just fucking walk home. You know what I mean? It doesn't really happen. Yeah. But then Japan again is level up, because you get there and everyone's instrument is already there. You don't even need to bring anything. Drumsticks are there for you if you need them. Like people literally crowd your table to buy merch. They'll buy a triplicate of your vinyl, hoodie, t-shirt, everything. It's crazy in Japan. It's just so different from the UK and Europe for a touring band.
Savage.
We sold out one night in Tokyo.
What, merch?
No, tickets. I think was it 30 capacity, 30 tickets.
Nice.
So we didn't publish the capacity. We just put sold out tonight, guys. Sorry, on the Facebook.
That must be a nice feeling to post that as well.
Yeah, but it's like I enjoy gigs like that where it's a room of 30 people, it's heaving. You know, like you shoulder to shoulder at 30 cap, and it's like that's an enjoyable gig for me. I could take, you know, like an O2 arena, you know, 1,500, 2,000, but I think I'd rather be in a room full of less than 100. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the biggest venue you can sell out is what you should do, especially for bands who are maybe past their peak. Older bands, I'm thinking. You know, I'd rather see.
What are you trying to say, man?
No, it's a lesson for the future. In like four or five album cycles time, you can remember Lightbreaker said, once you can't fill out the O2 anymore, then you're gonna want to fill out.
Trajectory, don't you know?
You got a vision board in the rehearsal room, have you?
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
It's like white. It's like Charlie off Always Sunny with all the red string and.
So
these people are male.
So let's have a quick lightning round. I'm just going to throw you one or the other, and you can just pick which one you'd have. Fancy beer or fancy whiskey?
Whiskey.
John?
Fancy beer.
Fancy beer. Streaky bacon or back bacon?
Streaky.
Yeah, streaky.
Really? Okay. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer.
Better on a bagel.
That's fair enough, actually.
Better for slicing up and frying for that extraneous fat as well, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, but the strip of fat on a slice of back bacon?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Still. All right, Danny, expensive guitar, expensive amp?
Expensive amp.
John, expensive kit, expensive cymbals?
Sorry. Say that again, sorry, man.
No, Danny, tell me more about the amp.
I was going to say, you can always put an AMG 81 in the cheap guitar.
Actually, I know a friend who has got like an assembled your own kit guitar, but the pickups are worth like 400 quid.
I bet it goes like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just covered in anti-fast stickers, and it's the most punk as fuck thing, eh? So, John, expensive kit or expensive cymbals?
Oh, expensive cymbals.
Yeah.
Every time you can put reasonable skins on any shit drum kit and it'll sound all right, but shit cymbals will always be shit cymbals.
Like a radiator.
Yeah.
Maybe if a crash is shit enough, you can just hammer it and make it a crash. Or a crash can make it into a china.
Yeah, I wish it did work like that, but unfortunately, no. I would have a lot of chinas by now.
Yeah, I'll bet. And last one, Beatles or the Stones?
Beatles.
Oh, fucking hell.
John?
Do I have to pick one?
Unless you have a third option.
I'll go Stones. Yeah, I have a third option. Literally anyone else, please.
Well,
Led Zeppelin, John. Led Zeppelin's the third option.
Oh,
well,
God.
I was going to say, no disrespect to either of you, but it is a trick question. And between Beatles and Stones, the answer's the Kinks. If you're
I was going to say the Meters personally, but I'll go for the King.
Oh, the Meter. That's a name not heard for a while.
The Beatles were the heaviest band at the time. Helter Skelter was heavy.
You've got him going now, man. You shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, the Kinks are heavier than you think, though, man.
They're heavier than Helter Skelter.
They're a few years too early from... Yeah, I've heard Helter Skelter, but...
No, but were the Kinks heavier than Helter Skelter is what I'm saying.
Overall, yeah. You really got me as a lot... They're closer to punk, I think, than they are to the inception of metal. But...
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's no right or wrong answers here. Every opinion is valid. So it seems a bit predictable to end on asking about the new album, but Danny, you did dangle a carrot in front of me in your last email, said that you were working something up over the weekend. So what's next for Fair Dues?
Yeah, so we're yet to publish anything about this, to be honest, but let's go for it anyway.
Well, this is going out in a few weeks, so.
Right, okay, we probably will.
You got the exclusive.
Slap it out tomorrow. No one will care. So I mean, before lockdown, Dave was sat on a shitload of songs that he just got all these guitars for, so I started learning them. We decided we had like 10 songs, so we decided to do it as 2 EPs just for just to keep us rolling with stuff. So it's not 4 years until this again. So we've got 5 songs pretty much ready. We've done everything remotely pretty much, and just went into same places we did Leopards. Went in there to record vocals, and he's doing the next as well. Dave Boothroyd in what's it called now? 6dB Studios.
6dB.
Yeah, he's very good at what he does. And he's had a big hand in kind of shaping the vocals as well. He's a really good songwriter. So he's been chopping syllables out of what I've demoed, essentially.
How does that make you feel?
I'm fine with it. We have it. If I don't agree with it, it doesn't come down. To be honest, like we chat about it. If it's something that I've done deliberately, takes it on board and stuff like that. It just kind of opens my mind to some new ideas. That it's very easy to get kind of tunnel vision when you're working so close on something so long.
Yeah.
So talk about third party, just kind of angel on your shoulder, tell you you've done a good take, tell you to chop a syllable out. So we've been in finished. We've just done what do we do? Like a weekend, and then I've done about 3 days vocals. Got a few backing vocals to finish up, and then we're releasing it later in the year. A couple of singles first, and then I haven't spoken to these lot about it yet, but probably going to book a tour to push it. Obviously, once we're all vaccinated, double vaccinated.
Yeah.
Probably going to book a tour just inside the UK if you're not allowed to go anywhere else.
Oh yeah, I've got a list of 17 places we could book a tour in the UK, John. So let's have it.
Well, don't make me have to fly over there.
We'll just pretend we're in South Italy when we're in Brighton. Yeah. They got to everyone in the shop and drink Corona, and
you can cover yourself in olive oil, go out in the garden, you'll still get a tan. It's not the easiest way of doing it, but it works.
Need that tinfoil again, just shining it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we get tans in Ireland, is we just go out, cover ourselves in olive oil. That's it. John, Danny, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me today. Hopefully by the time this comes out, we'll have release dates, but Fair Dues, new music coming very soon. And lads, thanks very much.
Thanks very much, man.
Cheers, guys. Hey guys, thanks very much for watching. It's YouTube, you know the drill. Be sure to like and subscribe to get a notification about the next interview, because you never know who it might be. I don't know who it's going to be. Could be Scott Stapp. Could be someone good. But like and subscribe, and there'll be a new interview every second week. Better still, you can listen to the Coffin Nail live on Keith FM. That's KEITHFEM.com. 6 p.m. every second Friday. And also, you can listen back to full episodes on mixcloud.com/Lightbreaker. And I'll chat to you guys again soon. Have a good one.